Well, let's see if I have a date for that page. 1875, he was born in 41, so he was 34 years old. I did that in my head. Yes, Bruce?
Early on, like late teens, he was principally a viola player, I read.
That's right.
How much, and that's your instrument, how much would having that role influence his writing? In other words, the harmonic, the supporting.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, he wrote beautifully for the viola. As you'll see later on, there's some more examples. So, but that's true. He was to provide more income, he played in a local sort of a pickup band that would go around and play in, well, what we'd call bars, but cafes and such. And it was a very good group, though. And that core group of instrumentalists was hired to flesh out, or actually to be the core of an opera orchestra in town. And he made some money that way. Not much, but what he did earn was a lot of exposure to great music, to great operas, and including music of Richard Wagner. And the story goes that Wagner even conducted one of the concerts that Dvorak was playing in. So yes, it's a good question. Of course, what you do, if I were to write a symphony, you can imagine what the viola part would be like, It would be beautiful, but not too hard, No, I take it back. But nonetheless, yes, Laurie.
Sorry, real quick, before you go too much further, will you explain to us what you mean as far as the folk elements of music he's playing?
Yeah. Can you imagine any American folk songs? Yeah, probably. Jack and Jill went up a hill. Da, 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 da. Usually melodies like that are very simple. They're most often pentatonic in nature. And, we will talk about this a little bit more. So can you hold that thought, and then we'll get to it in a little bit. But that's a very good question. It'll give me a little time to think of an answer too. But all the while, he wasn't depressed by the fact that they didn't have a lot of money to go forward. He wrote. There was a sort of a contest, I guess you would call it, in Vienna, where the state would provide the winners of this contest funds. It was only to go to poor, deserving musicians. And so Dvorak entered. He put in 2 symphonies, an opera, some chamber music. I mean, just an enormous amount of music. This is around 1874. He didn't, about the time of this serenade, he didn't win the first time. The next year he applied, he won. And then he won again and again for 4 or 5 years in a row. And there was one year maybe that was skipped. Yes, Bruce, did you have a question?
4 out of 5.
Okay, yeah. And only after a while did he come to find out that one of the judges for this contest was Johannes Brahms, the great Brahms. And Brahms was so impressed with Dvorak's music, and he became a champion of his music for the rest of Dvorak's life. In fact, he wanted Dvorak to move to Vienna to be with him, because he considered him almost an equal. But anyway, so you all know those Brahms Hungarian dances, don't you? They were a tremendous success for Brahms, and they were a tremendous success for Simrock, the publishing company that made so much money off of sales of that sheet music. So Brahms encouraged Dvorak to write some of these, to write some Slavonic dances rather than these German or Hungarian dances. The thing that was playing before we started today was a Slavonic dance. It was what they call a furiant, which is a sort of a form, and it's very often characterized by a play of rhythm. It's the one that we heard as we were starting, is in 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can divide 6 into 2s. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or you can divide it by 3 and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, that first piece that we played when at the beginning went ba 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 da 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 da. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Now that's kind of folksy. It's interesting. It's peasant-like. So the next piece I want to play for you is a movement from a string quartet. And it's the second movement. And this movement is called a dumke. The word dumke sometimes means thought, or an idea, or a notion. They're typically kind of sad, mournful, melancholic. Do we have that one queued up, Matt? The Opus 51? It's not that that's on the screen. What?
That's the link.
That's the link? Oh. Well, I guess we won't hear that because there's a technical screw up. Unless you can... So there's a screw up with the link. We'll have to pass over that. We'll be hearing another dumke soon, okay? I'm very sorry about that. We'll maybe move on to one of his most famous pieces then, the piano. Do you have it, Matt?
Piano.
The piano quintet. You all, some of you would have heard this at last year's Chamber Music Festival. This is one of his most beautiful, beautiful pieces. Listen at the beginning how the piano starts in this rocking little figure, da-dee-da-dum, da, and then the cello sings this beautiful, beautiful song. Would you play it, Matt?